Good morning, Bill.
Good morning, Bill. How are you, sir?
I am doing well.
Nice.
Yeah,
How was the weekend?
it's good, peaceful, relaxing, good times. Had a good time up in Oklahoma.
Nice. This
Yep.
was like the first weekend away.
Yeah, it's so Broken Bow, and they have a whole bunch of lake houses and stuff up there. So it's kind
Hmm.
of a little bit of a touristy place, but because it grew so fast. But the each of the spots are really nice. So like new builds essentially, and
Yeah.
really nice cabins. So yeah, had a good time. Had all the amenities, the hot tubs and the jacuzzis and like all the different cool stuff you can have in a nice VRB or Airbnb, stuff like that. So it was good.
That's cool. Al from the podcast always talked about Broken Bow and what a great place it is, and like he goes out there all the time. So yeah, I apparently need to go check this place out. I've never been.
Yeah, it's really good. I mean, it's you wouldn't say it's untouched by any means, but it's by our standards, being in the big city,
Yeah,
it's
for sure.
definitely way better off, and it's still got that kind of small town charm with all the hole in the wall burger joints and barbecue places and stuff like that. So it's a good spot. 3 hour drive, something like that. So it's
Nice. Okay.
perfect space, perfect perfect home in the way. Hey, Mike,
Awesome.
how's it going?
Bring on Q4, he says.
I
Like,
know.
just can't wait.
That's
I
right.
love that.
That's right.
It was a good weekend.
Yeah, I was about to ask
Yeah.
you. How was your weekend?
It was good. So I get to go meet a client in person, which doesn't always work out, right? Especially, you know, I work with people all over the world, right? So it was cool that come to find out that a newer person that I'm working with, Andrew, is here in the DFW area. So we met in the middle. I gave him his copy of a book. He brought me a book, which is awesome. Like, I'm blown away,
Yeah.
and that was awesome. And yeah, didn't really do much else. 311 did a couple live stream concerts, and Alice is obviously a big fan now, so we watched those together. That was great. Did some gaming. Yeah, nothing crazy.
Yeah, that's good though. That's fun.
That's what I'm hoping for these days, honestly.
Yes, easy.
Brian is back with us.
That's
Brian,
right.
you
I thought,
are you closed on that merger? Everything good
yeah,
there?
I'm curious. Want to see how that went. And even if you're
Yeah.
not, welcome back.
Yeah, absolutely, right? If you're on the way to the golf course today, also congratulations.
That's right. That's right.
Um okay, I have a question for you.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, do you have an hourly rate?
No.
Okay. I don't really have
Wait,
one
wait, wait.
either.
I should rephrase that. Um, the public doesn't think I have an hourly rate.
What does that mean, Jay
Well, I
Jordan?
mean, so no, if they're like, "Hey, how much you charge?" I'm like, "Well, it depends. We got to talk about that."
Whoa,
Right.
dude, Brian, congratulations. That sounds dope. That
Oh,
sounds
wow.
amazing. That's fantastic. Good for you, my friend.
Oh, I thought you said Dharma. I thought he was part of the Dharma Initiative. I was about to be like, "Word
No,
up."
I read DARPA correctly and got very
Okay.
excited.
Okay.
Holy
Okay.
crap! DARPA
Very nice.
does the very cool stuff. I actually read this series of like adventure books that talks about DARPA and this like super secret group of DARPA and everything. It's a thriller, airport reading
Okay.
kind of stuff, but
Okay.
yeah, yeah, it's still
Gotcha.
enjoyable.
Awesome. Well, I've got one of those on my list. Airport reading
Yeah,
coming up, so
absolutely,
I'm actually looking forward to it. Something like
man.
that.
Brian, congratulations, man.
Yeah.
I'm
Well
stoked
done,
for
man.
you.
That's awesome. Cool stuff.
Yeah,
I'm assuming it's a good thing.
yeah, it sounds
So
cool.
yeah.
I mean, I
Yeah.
don't think
So
people come in here to complain in the
mhm,
comments. We have
mhm.
the solution for cyber protection, he says, in
There
all
you go.
caps. The, I love it.
Right.
That's fantastic.
TAG. Nice.
TAG. Um, okay,
Yeah.
so
So,
back,
but in my
so
head, yeah. So I don't have an hourly rate. Like, what's your hourly rate? I don't have an hourly rate. I
mhm,
value pricing. It's what do you need done? Let's figure out a good way to price it that's going to
agree.
be fair
That's
for
how
you.
I do it as well.
But in my head, sure. I mean, there's a bit of like, okay, am I writing copy for someone? In my head, I'll probably charge around this, and I'll give them a package price of this. But how
Hmm.
many hours is it going to take me? Versus
Yeah.
if you're going to bring me on to do a big, huge project like what you're talking on, what you're doing right now.
Hmm.
There's no way you hourly price that. I mean, even in
Yeah,
my own
agreed.
head, I don't hourly price it. So no.
Yeah.
Why do you ask?
Um, well, because okay, you know that I'm big on discovery. You know that I'm big on like, hey, let's figure out what this thing is before we decide to work together, right? And I have a prospect who I know fairly well, and there's room to work together, right? We don't exactly know what that is going to look like yet because of the situation, but I think I can offer help. So we've had 2 calls, right? I had a call with him on Thursday, and we had a good conversation. We decided to talk again on Friday. And on both calls, he's like, okay, so what's your hourly rate? And I was like, well, like this is this is not uncomfortable, right? It's just like we're not going to get anything done in an hour, really, for for what I do and for what you do, in my opinion, right? Like we're gonna have a great conversation potentially, but you're probably not going to get much coming out of that thing, right? So my thinking is that most people pay monthly to work with me, right? And if you pay me monthly, you get an hour at a minimum on my calendar each week, and we can talk about what's happening in your conversations, your pipeline, get some coaching and stuff like that. Okay. And the monthly thing works for me because it allows me to kind of know what's going to be happening from month to month to month as a baseline, right? An hourly call is great, fantastic. Hopefully I can help, but I can't really forecast my business off of just like hourly engagements and things like that. So the way that I think about it is my one-to-one coaching rate starts at $1,500 a month. So
Right.
that means that essentially for an hour of my time, right, based upon that model, is going to be somewhere, I mean, like 350 an hour or something like that, right?
Right.
And
Yeah.
it feels weird to say, well, okay, cool, $400 an hour. Like that sounds uncomfortable. I don't have a problem at all saying that like it's going to be 1,500, 2,000, 2,500, depending upon the complexity of the project, right? Like I mean,
Right.
some of my projects are $5,000 per month, so it just kind of ranges up with that. Um, oh, that's an interesting thing, Brian.
Right.
And so this guy, we talk on Thursday, and he goes, "Hey, what's your hourly rate?" And I was like, "I kind of don't have one, honestly, right? Like the only really hourly thing that I do are the disc deep dives and the breakouts and stuff like that. That's $250 because we're going over the information. I'm not trying to like actively coach and consult and that kind of thing. So I don't know, it just feels weird because it seems like he would rather work hourly, which I can admire the, hey, I need some help, like I want to feel good about it, everything else like that. But from my side of it,
Well, it sounds like you start from a charting side though, like to be able to understand your monthly, output. If you price everything monthly, you can know what your monthly baseline is,
yeah.
and plan. But from like an hourly side, like, I wouldn't necessarily have a problem quoting an hourly rate if that's specifically what they ask for.
Hmm.
Like, hey, this is how we'd like to do it. But I think as someone who's, we both worked in other areas and other industries and other stuff,
Hmm.
hourly workers a lot of time expand to the time they have to make more money, to fill up more hours, right? So they can make more
Yeah.
money. So there's that part of me that's back there because I worked in that part of the world.
Yep.
Like, well, I'm going to work
Hmm.
2 more hours just so we can get paid for 2 more hours. Whereas that's
Yeah.
not my mentality for my work. My work, it's
Mm-mm.
we're going to solve this problem together, and it's worth about this much to us, we think. So this is what we're going to charge. Now, it's all math from there. But I think one of the reasons we talk about this is because we talk about value pricing, or we used to,
Yeah.
and
Hmm.
talking
Yeah.
about charging someone what it's worth. And so, like when Brian's saying, I say 500 or 2,000 a day, like when I was like heavy into the speaking before COVID happened,
Hmm.
I did a similar thing. I said, if you at my half day rate's 1,500, my full day rate's 5 grand. That's that's not hourly. That's my rate. Even then
Yeah.
it's not hourly. So I guess it all depends on who's asking and what we're trying to accomplish, right?
Yeah. I don't know because like I think about like SaaS companies, right? So like SaaS companies, if you buy the annual, you're going to get a discount, right? You're going to get a month for free a month, and I kind of think about it the same way. If we're going to work together over the course of the month, I'm willing to kind of like it. I should discount the rate a little bit because there's some continuity there, bigger thing. But I don't know why this is like such such a weird thing for me. I don't know why. It's I'm trying to
I
be.
think
I
it's
like.
because you partially because you customize a lot of stuff. Like when you come in and you are in discovery, you're always looking for like a not always, but you're looking for a bespoke style solution for people because you want them to get exactly what they need based on
Mhm.
like the principles that you know are going to work. And so that makes pricing harder to like nail down and like, oh, this is my package price. Like it's not how you're
Yeah,
building the solution. So it's
I think this is a weird thing, but like I'm uncomfortable with the idea that we're just going to work together hourly until you figure it out. Whereas if it's like, okay, let's figure out a program. Okay, great. I can tell you what you need to do and what we need to cover for this to be set up and working well for you. But
right.
like if we're just going to kind of attack this thing like a la carte, I don't really know how many hours it's going to take. Like I don't know how many hours it's going to take them to do their side of it as well. So I don't
Yeah.
I
Open ended.
like yeah, it's interesting to me how resistant I am to this.
Yeah.
Some people want to pay by the hour and can't project needs well. Sometimes the first few hours. Yeah, I mean, you're not wrong at all, Brian. Right? And this guy was willing to pay for the time on Friday. Right? He was like, "Hey, what's your hourly rate?" I said, "Man, we're still in discovery, and this isn't me trying to force you into like a 2 call process, but like, I really don't know yet how you want to attack this problem, and I don't think you're super clear on that either. So." We're still in
Mhm.
discovery until we figure out a plan of attack, and then we can talk about what it looks like to work together and stuff like that.
You know what's
So,
funny is I forget who it was. Someone told me this once, and I actually tried it temporarily, and nothing really bothered me about it. But I had a friend that used to charge for discovery because he
mhm.
said you're part of what they're paying for is the use of your brain to solve problems they can't solve by themselves. And so,
I've
like,
had people say that to me. Yeah.
if it's a sales discovery, don't get me wrong, 100%. We're just talking about can we work together. But if you start
Mhm.
diving into like, have you tried this? Have you thought about this? What have you done in
I
this
mean,
area?
to me, that's part of discovery. So I think I've had people on calls be like, man, I literally about a month and a half ago, a couple months ago, someone was like, John, I'm fascinated by how your brain works. And I'm like, okay, thank you. Like,
Mhm.
fantastic. And so that's always nice and validating and stuff like that. But I want to know what I'm getting into before I take any money from you, really
Right.
is kind of what it
Yeah,
breaks down to. So
sure. Yeah,
yeah.
that makes sense. I get that.
Yeah. I don't
Cool.
know. Like I've lost deals because I don't have a separate hourly kind of broken out thing, and I kind of feel like I don't know,
Oh,
like
really?
oh yeah, for sure. I
Just
mean,
because you didn't have hourly?
this is what I tell everyone: you can't force people to do your process. John, can you just give me an hourly rate? I don't really have one for this, right? This is
Right.
custom coaching work. You're needing my help, like greatness in the moment. You can ask me your questions and stuff like that, but like if we don't know our starting place and the end place, I can only be reactive,
So
right?
I'm curious, would Coach John in that particular case be digging into why they need an hourly so bad? Like asking that question, like why is it that hourly is important to you?
Well, I probably should be, right? But I don't really know how do I say this the right way? I don't know how to ask that without turning into hyper siege on, right? Because I think at some level people think, well, we can just get this done in an hour. No, probably not,
It's good to
right?
know
Like,
though.
yeah, I can teach you this stuff in an hour. Are you going to be able to do it on a call? No, you're going to forget. You're going to, because of everything else we've talked about and everything. So it's one of those things of I don't even I just think that they're hoping it's only going to take an hour, which I'm
Yeah.
not trying to string anybody along or milk anybody
Right.
for retainers or
Right.
revenue or anything like that. Um,
I think that's why I
so
was trying to think if that's where Coach John would step in to clarify and be like, okay, why is that so important? Oh, you think this is done in an hour? I'm glad we talked about this because
yeah,
this is a process that can take 5 hours.
yeah,
We talked
that's
about that.
fair. Yeah, interesting. Hmm. Yeah, I
See,
don't
you
know.
shouldn't teach me stuff. I turn around and use it on you.
No, like I mean, the what having better conversations towards where you're not making assumptions and asking questions.
I'm
Yeah,
just
why?
messing with you.
No, I know. Yeah, I don't know. It was just so then I spent all weekend. Okay, great. If my if I charge at least $1,500 for a month, which is the bare minimum for one-to-one coaching, right? They do not, Brian. I understand that.
Yes, but to defend John here, I would say, we don't know we're eating Perry steak yet. That would be the retort. Or where are we
that's
eating?
also fair. Yeah, that's also fair. Excuse me. Sorry, I didn't mean to cough on the mic. Yeah. So then I was thinking, okay, great. So if my hourly rate kind of breaks down based upon doing this for monthly, right, to about 350 or 400, then that means that if I'm going to do a separate broken out time for an hour,
Mhm,
that needs to
mhm.
be extra, right? Because you're not buying in bulk, you're not buying a discount, you're not doing any of
Sure.
these things. So therefore, because I don't want people to then be like, okay, well, great, then I don't need John's like monthly thing. I'm just going to pay for the hours a la carte and stuff like that. Like that just seems weird.
Right, right. And that's kind of what I was when we started the conversation. I was thinking like you build programs and people pay for the program. You don't build hourly time with John. Is there hourly time with John? Yes. It's
Yeah.
part of a program though that's going to take you somewhere. Right?
Yeah, but it's the I don't, man, why is this such a block for me? This is fascinating.
I just mean if I wanted to come hire John to help me, I couldn't say, "Hey John, what's it cost to work with you for 3 hours versus 6 hours?" Like I just want to do some practice for 3 hours or I want to do some practice for 6 hours. You
mhm.
don't have like an hourly rate already set up for that where you could easily go, "Oh, well, my hourly rate's 150 an hour,
No,
so just times it by 3 or 6."
no,
Yeah,
yeah, no,
exactly.
I don't do
You would
that.
go, "What are you trying to accomplish? Why don't we
Yeah,
talk about what that looks like? I actually could do this for you and this would work better. This is what it
yeah,
costs." Yeah,
and
it's a program. It's a program.
if it's just information,
Yeah.
this is so weird. If it's just information and it's just going to be one call, I'd rather just do it for free than do like a whole bunch of, okay, well, how much am I going to charge you and how much do you want to pay? And like my life is just easier if I help people within
Oh, yeah.
like
I'm with
1
you.
hour for free. And then at the end of that time, it's if you want me to work on your behalf, right? Like the knowledge is free because I found it from other people and found it online and found it by experience and stuff like that. So if I can help you within an hour, I don't really mind doing it, right? But ouch. Thank you, Brian.
Yeah, I was gonna say
Uh,
it's there I can definitely see the argument for the other side, but I think it all depends on like how you like to work and how you like to work yourself into working relationships.
that's
Because
fair.
I've done both and they both work. It just
Hmm.
depends on where you're trying to go with your work, I think. Now, if you were
Yeah.
giving away an hour of your day, 2, 3, 4 times a day and
Oh
not
yeah.
getting
No.
any business,
No.
that would be ouch.
Yeah. I
But I
think.
think once a
I th-
week, maybe,
yeah.
and you know,
I
certainly
think
good.
over the course of a week, I might be giving away 2 hours of free consulting, free coaching, right? Just because people will have a question, we'll hop on a call, blah blah blah, and
Yeah.
I like, man, I'm here because of the greatness of other people that I've networked with, right? So like, I don't want to be that super withholding part. Yeah, I mean, we can have a call, but are you going to be okay with the hour? Like, man, like I don't know that because I do, Brian, feel the same way as you do. Like I do think that the hour that I can provide or the value that I can provide in an hour to the right person who's dealing with the right things is way more than $500. Like
Yep.
I have sessions where people where after the first session they go out and they ask a couple of additional questions and they close an extra 12 to $3,000, right? So I know the value is there, right? I know this is my own head trash more than it is anything else, but yeah.
Well, and it's part of I give away an hour every week no matter what because I want to because I want to help people. So like it's
Exactly, right.
also
Yeah,
just
I
part of
kind of
my
think about it
yeah, I want
like
to.
my charitable give back, if you
Yes.
will. Okay.
100%. Yeah. There's a piece to that. And so I think Brian, we know that our time is valuable, and we both have talked at length in other shows and things like this about to most people who would be interested in chatting with us that our time is worth well over $500. So we're
I will
definitely in a
say
spot.
that the amount of value I think I can deliver for free, or I'm sorry, the amount of value that I can deliver in an hour versus
Mhm,
the amount of value that I can deliver over like 4 hours over the next 4 weeks,
mhm.
like that consistency is the thing that creates change, right? Like people go to these seminars, they go to these like weekend workshops, and they think that
Mhm.
they're going to come back and they're going to be dramatically different. And most people aren't, right? Because they come back and everything else gets in the way, right? And so you come back in, and I used to call this like going to church camp, right? So you go to church camp as like a kid in high school, and you come back and you're like on fire for the Lord, and you're like, man, I'm never cussing again. I'm going to throw out all my rap music. I'm never even, I'm not going to have these thoughts anymore and stuff like that. And then with a couple of weeks, you're back into like your regular routine because you're back in the regular like system, right?
Yep.
So
Yep.
while I do think that they're still getting a good thing at $500 an hour, the $1,500 for the month, they're going to get so much more value because we're going to uncover these things. They're going to see some ways to implement them. They're going to get some iteration. They're going to get some dialing and stuff like that. So while I do think it's going to be like, if it's $500 for an hour and $1,500 for a month, I think you're probably going to get $7,000-8,000 worth of value out of the course of the month, as opposed to $1,500 for like the 1 hour kind of thing, right? Consistency and continuity and accountability. And this is the thing that so many people, I think, in the coaching and consulting space forget to kind of think about. They show up and they drop in, they do a couple of hours of workshop on targeting or writing or creating content, stuff like this, and they don't build in time for the accountability, so that way this stuff starts to stick with the teams that they're working with. And so then people are like, oh my God, that was such a great workshop. Okay, what happened after that? Nothing. We just went back to normal.
Yep.
Oh, you're not actually helping in those moments, right? You have to dive deep enough that you're actually helping these people implement and start to change. And so maybe that's my biggest concern, really,
Agreed.
is that I've got the cape on too much, right? Like
Yep.
I want it more than they want it potentially. So that's interesting.
Yeah, like I think we talked about this before. I think you don't want to deliver something that won't actually potentially solve the problem. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that.
That's it. That's
Yeah,
it
I don't think
exactly.
but it also, from people who think specifically about how to make lots of money,
Mhm.
that's ridiculous in some of those people's minds. Like, no, if this is all they want, give it to them and charge it. Like, if this is what they're asking for, charge them for it and do it. So I think that's the other kind of side of the coin, is where some people will think that way. And if you don't, like, you and I are both that way. Like, we don't want to work on a project unless we feel like we can actually make real change in it.
Yeah.
So
for what I hate is in all these communities, whenever someone comes in, if it's an entrepreneurial community, they're like, hey, I got this business idea, and then inevitably someone is going to show up and they're like, well, are you doing this to help people, or are you doing this to make some money? And it's like,
Yeah.
you can want to do both, right?
Right.
If you do it the right way. That's always
Yeah.
very frustrating to me whenever people do that. Ask that first question.
Yeah, definitely. Well, I
I
held
still
up the
think it's a good
book
question.
because I was going to say the professionals know that you excel only to the level of your systems, right?
Exactly. Yeah.
The information's great, but if it's not in the system that's working for you, that's where your failure point is. So
Yeah.
and that takes
Absolutely.
consistency and discipline and a plan.
Yeah. Hey, I just don't think that most people are actually helped with like a separate, broken out, paying for someone. Like, and this is weird for me to say because I'm a coach, right? And so I have people who pay to talk with me, right? And they get improvement from those conversations. But I don't know.
Yeah.
I just think that a solo hour isn't really going to get a whole lot of change for most people.
It's true, but you know what? And when I think about it, I still do that on occasion, because I'll have people bring me people and they can't solve the problem. They're like, "Hey, I thought of you because we've talked, and I thought maybe you could help them figure this thing out. Can I refer them
Okay.
to you?" And they'll come into my inbox via referral, and they'll say, "Hey, how much do you charge?" And I'll be like, "Why don't we hop on a call and talk about what you need?" And then with the first 5 or 10 minutes, I go, "Okay, I think we've got something. Should we talk about doing some business together?" Yes. Whatever you need. Okay. We can solve it right now. It's $250. So I've done something like that.
Yeah.
And I mean, in the last 3 months, I've done it a couple times.
That's fair, right? Because like on one level, see you, Brian. Have a good day, man. Enjoy your first day. I hope it goes smoothly. Tell us,
Get them, Brian.
show up on Friday and let us know how the first week goes, because we'll have some
we're Monday,
questions for
Friday
you.
now.
You
So
can share.
come back on Friday.
Yeah. And I like AJ's point here, because this is something we've talked about together, because he's an SEO coach and consultant, and it's like,
Mhm.
it's great that you're going to help align the brand messaging and stuff like that, but are they actually going to take the steps to implement the stuff you talked about or not?
Yeah.
Because we look at course completion rates, right? They're in the toilet online. They are pure garbage, right?
Yeah.
And so I don't know. It's all just kind of tied together to me and okay. So let me ask you this question, right? So we do the DISC assessments and they're $250 an hour, and I'll get on there and I'll do the hour-long breakdown with you and stuff like that. That also throws up a little bit of head trash for me and stuff like that, because if I have that over there at $250 an hour, right, but I'm charging for this thing over here, and arguably I think that doing a DISC deep dive with me is one of the most impactful things you can do as a salesperson and entrepreneur. Shouldn't I be charging more for that than I am for solo consulting time?
I don't know, because to me it's always the John thing. What are you optimizing for? Because like if the goal of the DISC is to get them interested in enough in self-improvement to understand that there's ways that they can be better, then as a one-off, I think that's fine. And I think what it's also doing is building yourself a funnel of people who might want more consistent long-term coaching, like you offer. And so like, to me, you don't have to charge them $1,000, right? Because it's worth $1,000. You can charge them $250. They can scratch their head for 2 weeks and go, gosh, there's more to this. That was a really great call. I feel really good. I need some more. So to me, if that's what you're going for, then you need a price point that's going to get people interested enough to go, oh gosh, I don't know anything.
Yeah. But
that was it.
I think that's what I'm trying to do.
Yeah. Then it would be a different price point, because this is the end. Once you do this, everything's solved. It's $1,000, but that's not the end.
Yeah.
So I think it's a stepping stone. That's where pricing gets interesting, and it's not just one answer. It's depending on what you're doing with the information that you're sharing.
Very fair. Okay. Interesting. Fascinating discussion. I've been thinking about this all weekend. What do you have this week? What did you say?
We spent 30 minutes on pricing.
Yeah, we did.
That's funny.
Actually, we spent 30 minutes on head trash and limited belief around pricing.
But... Yeah. The words. For sure. Yeah, so I've got I have heavy coaching this week, actually.
Nice.
First week I'm saying that. It's heavy week of client coaching, and this is my coaching learning track week. So I think I said last week and week before, I'm doing sales and coaching. This is my coaching week. So I'm going to watch some of my own calls. Yay. And then I'm going to watch some other people's calls and just critique those. So that's really the bulk of my week. How about yours?
I have, let me see here. I have a talk I'm giving this week. I'm going to UTA, which is a school that I went to and dropped out of to join the military. I'm going to give a talk to the School of Entrepreneurship, I think is what it is over there, about the power of networking. So I've done that before. This will be my first time to do it live and in person. So that is Thursday night. I'm excited about that. Other than that, it's like a regular week. Nothing too crazy. It's all the regular stuff. So, prospecting, coaching, delivering, working with my team. I brought on someone to help out last week, and I worked with them successfully in the past. They've been hyper communicative and super awesome to work with, and this time just wasn't the same. And so I'm getting better about pulling that ripcord faster, of being like, okay, this isn't what I need, as opposed to like trying to force a fit and everything else like this. Because once again, if you have to sell 80% because you're on the line on 20%, that's going to be a nightmare. Whether it's selling a deal or selling someone the need to be accountable to a role or anything else like that. So I said, hey, let's pause. Tell me what I owe you. This isn't working. So I finish up with them, and I'm doing a test experiment with a new person around that to pick up where that goes off. And so that is for Cruvia to work out with them. So that way I can just kind of get in there and start doing my research, doing some calls, figuring out who's who, figuring out who to go after and stuff like that. So that's kind of the big thing that's looming in my head, is that I want to make some good progress on that this week. I need to write a couple of slides probably for this presentation. Like part of me just wants to show up and do it from my head because I know this topic pretty well. But I also think that just from like a spectator perspective, having some slides, and having like a little bit of that. Like, I'm not going to go up there and read off of the slides because that would be monotonous for everybody involved. But yeah, I need to kind of put a little bit of one together, I would say. So need to do that today. Regular week, honestly, like nothing too crazy.
Okay, cool.
So Friday, you're not going to be here because you have an all hands thing. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask in the Sherpa Slack community who wants to come on and be your replacement for one day on Friday. So I think we're going to try to have someone from the Sherpa Slack community come on and be Jake for a day on Friday.
So I think it's actually the next Friday.
Is it next Friday?
Yeah, it's the 14th.
Okay, good. Okay.
So the 7th, I'm here.
Is that on the calendar?
Do we have a shared calendar?
Well, we do. Wait, we have a calendar invites for this, don't we?
Oh, gotcha. Yeah. So no, it's still I'm still a yes on it, I think.
Okay.
So anyway, point is
we can fix that off air.
We can talk about that off air, but yes, within not this week, but next week for sure.
Okay.
We'll do AMA or you come be a guest or like something like that.
I think that would be really cool.
Yeah. And
do we need the same shirt and beard as Jake? Hey, yes, you must. If you are not bald, you must wear a bald cap. Mm-hmm. If you do not have a beard, you must paint. You must devise a way to show up with one.
Yes. yes, for sure. Yes, use water paint so it'll come off easier. I promise. No,
that would be hilarious.
Yes, we actually on the Unlearned show. Probably most people don't know what this is, but you do. We had a guest that wanted to be on our show. And so she did little baby 2-minute clips where she would dress up as the co-hosts and have her own little clip. And she would post them to LinkedIn and tag us.
Oh my God.
That's amazing. It was amazing. You know, Judy Fox?
Yeah. Yeah. She's in staffing, I think, right?
It was Judy Fox. Yeah. She's amazing.
Oh man. She's got some, I used to see her content a lot with the video stuff. I've not seen it here recently, but it was really good whenever I was seeing it before.
Yeah,
that's awesome.
Yeah. That's a good way to get on a show.
Yeah, absolutely, for sure.
Yeah. Okay. Cool.
Yeah. So next Friday. Okay, good. I feel better. I have some time now, but I'll still put it out this week, and that way you can be part of the discussion.
Yeah, that'd be good.
So, yeah.
Okay. Cool. Well, thanks to Dylan. Thanks to Brian. Good to see you back. AJ. Thanks a bunch.
Mike Towell, Mr. Regular.
Yes, and Mr. Regular. I don't think I saw some of the others, but maybe they were lurking. So anyway, so we'll see you though Friday with a special something.
Yes. We will have a guest. We will have a regular guest on Friday, next Friday. Mm-hmm. So check your DMs. I might be DMing you to see if you want to come on the show.
Heyo.
All
right, guys. Well, have a good Monday, and we'll see everybody on Friday.
Yep.
Hey, Bill.
Let me know if you need anything, Bill.
I will. Thanks, man.
See you.